Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to another weekly fighting roundup, and in today's video I've got the boxing and the UFC news. If you are new around here then you have to subscribe, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, gonna start with the boxing, of course. So, an offer's been made by Eddie Hearn for the Joshua versus White fight for the 12th of August. Hopefully we see that one happen. Seems like they booked, I think, Wembley for that. I'm not too sure. Wembley Arena, but I'm not too sure. Fowler has retired. Tapayas has been approved by the WBA to unify against a winner of Inoue versus Fulton Jr., meaning that if Inoue wins versus Fulton Jr., he might be staying at bantamweight, or is that super bantamweight? Not entirely sure, but he might not be going back down in weight. The WBC has ordered Rosansky to defend his Bridgerweight title against Lorena. I do like that fight. Lorena's coming off that win versus Merhi and gave a good account of himself, of course, against Dubois, and Rosansky's coming off that big victory, and I would like to see that. And I think that is probably the biggest fight we have left for the Bridgerweight division, to be completely honest. Bostan will fight Amos on the 1st of July. Of course, Amos won the fight we've had on the channel, and it's a big, tough test for him, but one that he very much deserves. Kingpin semi-finals have been moved to the 15th of July. Paul will star in a combat sports film. Not really entirely boxing related news, but I just thought I'd mention it anyway. McGregor has joined Wasserman. McGregor will fight on the 21st of July. McKenna is injured, and I don't think he's fighting Thompson on the 16th of July, but he might not be injured because they just recently announced it, so it might be Thompson that's injured. Not entirely sure. Ignore me on that one. Navarrete will fight Valdez on the 12th of August. That's one I'm very much looking forward to. That'll be a very entertaining fight, one that's been cooking for a while. The WBA have ordered Akhmadaliev versus Kameda in a final eliminator for the WBA Super Bantamweight World title. A Hatton documentary will be aired in September. Kelly will fight Corzo on the 15th of July now because of a Kelly injury. Yafai is set to fight on the 19th of August. Cruz is set to fight Cabrera on the 29th of July. When I say set to fight, it's not announced fully yet, but it's rumoured. Seems like it might happen. Cabrera won via KO in round 1 versus Rosales. Manuel won via unanimous decision versus Gutierrez. Garcia won via KO in round 1 versus May. Merjanovic won via majority decision versus Salgado. Santibanez won via unanimous decision versus Flores, and that was a big upset, to be fair. The IBF are set to call Abe as a mandatory challenger for Lopez. Martins de Silva won via unanimous decision versus Gonzalez. Munguia won via unanimous decision versus Almaraz. Cohen won via unanimous decision versus Currentes. Bracamontes won via unanimous decision versus Melgar. Romero won via unanimous decision versus Figueroa. Mercado drew versus Carrillo. Zambekov won via KO in round 3 versus Figueroa. Versus Andino. Yeritzian won via KO in round 2 versus Vittori. Walsh won via KO in round 4 versus Jones to become WBC USA Silver Super Welterweight Champion. Canelo versus Benavidez is not happening next because Canelo just seemingly doesn't really want that fight, to be completely honest, and didn't really respond to Benavidez's hopes and offers. Villon has joined Matchroom. Bivol versus Canelo is also set to not be happening in September because I don't think Bivol wants that fight, to be completely honest, and so it's been interesting to see where Canelo does end up going next because his options are slimming the more and more each week. Fletcher won via TK in round 2 versus Strykowski. Franken won via points versus Palacios. Fale won via TK in round 1 versus Glowacki. Barney Smith won via points versus Flores. Fale won via TK in round 3 versus Madsen. Taylor won via points versus Gradia. Turner won via stoppage in round 6 versus Farrell to remain WBC International Silver Super Lightweight Champion. Chamberlain won via TK in round 1 versus Di Molari to remain IBF European Lightweight Champion. Adelaide won via stoppage in round 5 versus Ahmatovic to remain WBO European Heavyweight Champion. Farrell drew versus LeBourne. Thompson won via points versus Stoyanov. Palmer won via TK in round 3 versus Parvi. Masio Karte won via points versus Powell. Butler won by unanimous decision versus Windle to become Commonwealth and European flyweight champion. Unfortunate for Windle. Of course, we had him on the channel before the fight, but he seems to have taken it well, and it was a good, tough fight and entertaining one nonetheless. Brathwaite won by unanimous decision versus Botchachika. Won by unanimous decision versus Farag to become Commonwealth Super Flyweight Champion. Sissikyo versus Botchachika and Castro versus Fuenzalida will fight on the 15th of July. Scott has joined Matchroom. Zhang versus Joyce. A rematch is set for September 2nd. Benavidez is set to fight Morel in October. That is one fight that I am looking forward to. If the Canelo one isn't an option, then it's good to see that they're going for still more unification fights, and that is definitely a good one. Hall is set to fight in BKFC. Luchez won by unanimous decision versus Gonzalez to become WBA Feder Caribe Super Lightweight Champion. Francis won by unanimous decision versus Arguello. De Chico won by TKO in round 2 versus Bracamonte to become WBA Feder Caribe Heavyweight Champion. Quiroga won by unanimous decision versus Shitu to become WBA Fed Centro Super Flyweight Champion. Romero won by majority decision versus Giron to become WBA Feder Latin Lightweight Champion. Rivas drew versus Romero. That was shaping up to be quite a good fight. I believe Rivas got dropped early and then Romero had that bad cut, and of course it ended up in a draw. So I suppose my prediction wasn't right there. Rodriguez won via unanimous decision versus Hernandez. Burns won via TKO in round 1 versus Johnson. Mills won via unanimous decision versus Pina. Sulecki won via KO in round 2 versus Hernandez. Waterman won via unanimous decision versus Evans. Williams drew versus Galdino. Correa won by majority decision versus Van Sicklen. Unfortunate for Van Sicklen, but like I said, he seemingly took it well as well, but it is a shame to be completely honest. Ismailov won via unanimous decision versus Foster to become IBF USBA Light Heavyweight Champion. I got that one a bang on. Leon won via KO in round 1 versus Kennedy. Rodriguez won via KO in round 1 versus Garcia Jr. Clark won via unanimous decision versus Bostic. Perez won via unanimous decision versus Fennell. Machado won via TKO in round 2 versus Smith. Ringondu won via KO in round 7 versus Clemente Adino. Williams won via KO in round 2 versus Rodriguez to become WBC Fed Box Lightweight Champion. Broner won via unanimous decision versus Hutchinson. I got that one, I believe, bang on as well. Good to see Broner back. He put on a good display there, better than what his last one was, and he didn't look bad. So I quite enjoyed seeing him back. El Barley won via unanimous decision versus Gomez Jr. to remain North American Association and Federation Light Heavyweight Champion. Faulkner won via TKO in round 4 versus Middleton. Wood won via TKO in round 4 versus Pythian. Fortunate for him, it was a bit of a dodgy stoppage to be completely honest. Holmes won via TKO in round 1 versus Dodge. Murphy won via points versus Fox. Fielding won via points versus Fash. Lynch won via points versus Zulgis. Edwards won via points versus Martinez. Hearn has confirmed Canelo versus Jack talks. That seemingly might be happening. Canelo moving up to cruiserweight, I believe it will be. That will be interesting to see if that one actually ends up happening or not. But that seems like the main one they're going with at the moment, which I find a little bit strange. But I don't hate the fight. Ali won via points versus Castro. Ledard won via TKO in round 1 versus Salas. Clark won via TKO in round 5 versus Jameson. Bellotti won via unanimous decision versus Kumari. Hughes won via unanimous decision versus Healy to remain WBA World Bantamweight Champion. Good solid performance from Hughes, managed to face a little bit of adversity, come back, win comfortably, and congratulations to her. Scottney won via unanimous decision versus versus Johnson to become IBF's World Super Bantamweight Champion. So I got the Hughes one right, got the Scottney one wrong unfortunately. Good fight though. Edwards won via unanimous decision versus Campos to remain IBF World Flyweight Champion. Got that one bang on. And Edwards, it was a pretty comfortable performance. He said that he deliberately gave away a couple of rounds just to change things up. I don't know if that's true or not, but he looked relatively comfortable throughout. Always kind of expected him to win. I feel like everybody did. And it was just a comfortable victory, to be completely honest. Zayas won by unanimous decision vs Cruz to remain North American Boxing Federation and WBO NABO Super Welterweight Champion. Carrington won by TKO in round 8 versus Perozzo. Rosario won by unanimous decision versus Rivera. Conceição won by unanimous decision versus Polcano ended in a no contest. Naiba won by unanimous decision versus Olguin. LeBron won by unanimous decision versus Ramos. Lopez won by unanimous decision versus Taylor to become WBO World Super Lightweight Champion. I got that one wrong, I believe, because I don't know, I feel like everybody's outed Lopez, to be completely honest, and he really showed up and he really put on a good performance there, and credit to him to be able to do that. And now he's talking about retirement. He's declared he's going to retire. I don't know, but he's considering it. He said he needs 100 mil or something like that to get back in the ring. Don't know if any of his fights are really worth that much, to be completely honest, but at 25 years old, he's achieved a lot, and I would be sad to see him leave the sport, to be completely honest. And when he's boxing like that, you would also be sad to, but it seems like I don't know if his head's really in the right space. Even with that victory, still doesn't seem like his head's entirely in the right position, but either way, he's boxing very well. Sal Divar won via KO in round 2 versus Clayton. Chavez won via unanimous decision versus Lorenzo. Flores won via unanimous decision versus Juarez. Mosley Jr. won via KO in round 7 versus Ballard to become a WBO NABO middleweight champion. Sandova won via unanimous decision versus Santo Maro. Munguia won via unanimous decision versus Teravianchenko to become a WBC Silver Super Middleweight Champion. That was a very good fight. Shame to see Teravianchenko not be able to get the victory, to be completely honest. It was a very close fight, and I think, to be fair, maybe the knockdown did play a factor in it, and maybe was enough, but Munguia, he started a little bit shaky. I always thought that Teravianchenko would be able to come in, rock his kind of world a little bit and surprise him a little bit with just his strength and his will, and just test him like nobody has before, and he did that. And it's good to see Munguia in the later rounds. He was looking good, and he definitely calmed down a little bit more, picked his shots well, but then he did show his power, and it was too much for Teravianchenko. But throughout, Teravianchenko never really, bar maybe in the 12th round, look out of it. Even in the 8th round, he was still having success at times, and so fair play to him at 37 years old to be able to do that and be in such a war. And unfortunately, it seems like he never really kind of gets to nod on them kind of close fights for him. But either way, good fight for him, good fight for Munguia to progress along. And I mean, like I said, I feel like he should be fighting better opponents at this point, but still, he's at this point, and hopefully now world title fights gonna happen for him next. Kolmatov is set to fight Ford after Wood vacates. That's what Eddie Hearn's been going on about. Froch and Bradley Jr. have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that is all the boxing news. Moving on now to the UFC news. Imavov drew vs Curtis. Barriault won by decision versus Anders. Ige won by decision versus Landwehr. Malott won by submission in round 2 versus Fugit. Oliveira won by KO in round 1 versus Dariush. That was good to see Oliveira be able to do that. I'm happy for Oliveira to be able to do that and be so dominant. I thought he was dominant, but to be able to show that he has got that power. People maybe doubted his power, but you can always see that he's got that power, and he showed it there, and it was good, dominant display that he definitely needed, I suppose, for himself as well. And that shows how good Makhachev must have been to be able to beat Oliveira that still isn't faded, still looking very good, and hopefully there's a rematch then now. I really want to see that Makhachev versus Oliveira rematch now. Nunes won via decision versus Aldana to remain a bantamweight champion, and then Nunes retired. It's sad to see her go because she is arguably the best ever UFC women's fighter to do it, and I feel like, to be fair, at this point, I mean, I did my prediction for it. Fighters I said that could fight next, they're all just fighters she's already fought, and so I don't blame her, to be honest. And she won this fight pretty comfortably and been winning most of her fights, bar the Pena one, pretty comfortably. But even in a rematch, she won that, in my opinion, comfortably. There was a little shaky moment, but she was dominating the fight, and there isn't really anybody that I think can really do it like her, and I don't think there's any opposition now that she could fight that really bring her much different, or she'll have much of a challenge with, to be completely honest. And so I don't blame her, to be honest, and best of luck in her retirement. hopefully we'll see her coaching fighters soon and all of that, because it'd be nice to see her still around the sport and teaching her ways to another fighter. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.